I stood frozen in my own bedroom doorway, staring at my husband tangled in our sheets with the one person I trusted more than anyone in this world. My best friend, the woman who helped me pick out my wedding dress, the woman who held my hand through every hard moment of my marriage. And now she was destroying it. The worst part? They didn't even notice me standing there at first. They were too caught up in each other, in my bed, in my home, laughing like they didn't have a care in the world. That laugh, the same one she'd used when we'd gossiped about cheating husbands over wine just last week. She'd looked me dead in the eye and asked how I dealt with trust issues in my marriage. Now I knew why she was so interested. My hands started shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even breathe. I just stood there in the doorway of my own bedroom, watching my entire world collapse, wondering how many times they'd done this before, wondering how many lies I'd believed, wondering if anything in my life had ever been real. His hand was in her hair. Her head was thrown back, laughing at something he'd said. They looked happy, comfortable, like they'd done this 1,000 times. Because they probably had. And then Sarah turned her head. Her eyes met mine, and I watched her face go from blissful to horrified in half a second. That's when I knew this wasn't just happening. This had been happening for a long, long time. Let me back up, because you need to understand how deep this betrayal goes. Sarah wasn't just my best friend. She was my person. We'd known each other since college, 15 years of friendship. 15 years. We'd been roommates junior year, lived in that tiny apartment with the broken heater and the landlord who never fixed anything. We survived finals together, bad breakups together, job searches together. She was my maid of honor at my wedding. She gave this speech that made everyone cry, talking about how she'd never seen me happier than when I met Mark, how she knew he was the one because of the way he looked at me. She promised she'd always be there for us, for our marriage, no matter what. She was at the hospital when my mom died 2 years ago. She held my hand through the whole funeral. She stayed at our house for a week afterward because I couldn't function. Mark was there too, taking care of both of us. Or at least that's what I thought was happening. She knew every secret I'd ever had, every insecurity, every fear. She knew I'd been cheated on before, in college, and how badly it destroyed me. She knew I had trust issues because of it. She knew Mark was the first person I'd ever felt safe with again. And she used all of that against me. My husband, Mark. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 6. We met at a friend's barbecue, and I knew within a month he was different. He was steady, reliable, kind, the kind of man who remembered little things, who showed up when he said he would, who made me feel like I mattered. Sure, things had gotten a little routine lately. We both worked long hours. Date nights became Netflix nights. Conversations about our future became conversations about whose turn it was to do laundry. But I thought that was normal. I thought that's what marriage looked like after a few years. Comfortable. Safe. He'd been working late more often over the past year. Big project, he'd say. Trying to get this promotion so we can finally buy that house you want. I'd kiss him goodbye at 7 a.m. and he wouldn't get home until 10 p.m. some nights. I'd save him dinner, rub his shoulders, tell him I was proud of how hard he was working for us. He wasn't working. He was with her. Sarah had been around more too. She'd gone through a breakup about a year ago, right when this all started, I'm realizing now, and I felt terrible for her. I kept inviting her over. Come, have dinner with us. I'd say, "You shouldn't be alone right now." She'd show up with wine, sit at our kitchen table, laugh at Mark's jokes, help me clean up while he watched TV. She was always offering to help with things. "I'll pick up your dry cleaning since I'm going that way. I'll stop by and let the plumber in since you're at work. I'll bring over those files you forgot." Always. Showing up when Mark was home. Always finding reasons to be in our house, in our space, in our life. I thought she was being supportive. I thought she cared about our marriage. I thought she was the kind of friend who'd do anything for me. Looking back now, every moment makes me sick. Every dinner she joined, sitting across from Mark, smiling at me while her foot was probably under the table touching his. Every time she volunteered to keep me company when Mark was busy, she was probably just making sure I wasn't getting suspicious. Every girls' night where she'd ask me questions about my marriage, about our sex life, about whether I thought Mark was happy, she was studying us, learning our patterns, learning when I'd be at work, when I'd be out of town, when she could sneak back and sleep with my husband in the gaps I didn't even know existed. And I invited her in. I gave her a key to our house. I trusted her with everything. The day I caught them was supposed to be completely normal. I had a work conference 3 hours away in Philadelphia. I'd packed my bag the night before, laid out my presentation notes, set my alarm for 5 a.m. Mark had kissed me goodbye that morning, told me to drive safe, said he'd miss me. He'd even made me coffee for the road. Sarah had texted me around 8 a.m. "Good luck today. You're going to kill that presentation," with 3 heart emojis. I'd texted back thanking her, telling her I'd call her after to let her know how it went. She already knew I wouldn't be calling, because she was already planning to be in my bed by noon. I got to the conference venue around 11 a.m., checked in, grabbed my badge, headed to the main hall. That's when I saw the notice on the board. Keynote speaker illness. Schedule changes. My presentation, originally set for 3 p.m., had been pushed to next week. The whole day was canceled. I tried to be annoyed, but honestly, I was relieved. I could go home, take a bath, maybe surprise Mark with dinner. I texted him at 11:30. Conference got canceled. Heading home early. Be there by 2:30. He didn't respond. I tried calling around 12:45 while I was on the highway. Straight to voicemail. I called again at 1:30. Nothing. I texted, "Hey, is your phone off? I'm almost home." Still nothing. I wasn't worried yet. Mark was terrible about keeping his phone charged. He probably had back-to-back meetings and didn't see my messages. It happened all the time. When I pulled onto our street at 2:15 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, Sarah's car was parked 3 houses down. Her silver Honda with the dent in the back bumper from when she'd backed into a pole at Target last summer. I'd been in the passenger seat when it happened. We'd laughed about it for weeks. My first reaction was confusion. Why is Sarah here? Then I thought maybe she'd stopped by to grab something she'd left last time. She had a key. She house sat for us when we went on vacation. She watered our plants. She'd been in our house alone dozens of times. But then I remembered. Sarah had work on Thursdays. She worked a 9 to 5 at an accounting firm downtown. She shouldn't be here in the middle of the day, unless she'd called in sick, unless she'd taken the day off, unless she knew I'd be gone. I sat in my car in the driveway for a full minute, staring at her car, and something cold settled in my chest. That voice in your gut that you try to ignore because it sounds crazy, that voice was screaming at me now. I got out of the car slowly, grabbed my bag, walked to the front door, My hands were shaking as I put the key in the lock. The house was quiet when I stepped inside. Too quiet. Sarah's purse was on the entry table. Her jacket hung on the hook by the door. Her shoes, those expensive heels I'd helped her pick out last month, were kicked off by the stairs. She wasn't just stopping by. She was comfortable. She was settled in. Then I heard it. Faint, coming from upstairs. Laughter. His deep, rumbling laugh. Her high-pitched giggle. The kind of intimate, breathless laughter that made my stomach drop before my brain could even process what was happening. It was the laughter of two people who thought they were alone. Two people who had no idea they were about to be caught. I walked toward the stairs like I was moving through water. Every step felt impossible. My legs were shaking. My heart was pounding in my ears so loud I could barely hear anything else. Part of me wanted to turn around, get back in my car, pretend I'd never come home. But I kept walking. Up the stairs. 1 step, 2 steps. The laughter getting louder, then softer. Then I heard a voice. His voice, low and murmuring. Then her voice responding. I couldn't make out the words, but I didn't need to. I knew what I was about to see. Part of me had known the second I saw her car, but nothing could have prepared me for actually seeing it. The bedroom door was cracked open. Not closed, not locked. They felt that safe, that confident I wouldn't be home for hours. I pushed the door open with one hand. And there they were, in my bed, in the bed I shared with my husband, tangled in the sheets I'd washed 3 days ago, his body on top of hers, her hands in his hair, both of them so lost in each other they didn't even hear the door open. For a split second, I thought maybe I could just close the door, walk away, pretend I never saw this. But then Sarah turned her head. Her eyes met mine, and I watched her entire face change from pleasure to pure horror in half a second. That's when I screamed. The scream that came out of me didn't even sound human. It was raw, guttural, the sound of something inside me shattering into 1,000,000 pieces. Sarah scrambled backward, grabbing the sheet and pulling it up to cover herself, her face going ghost white. Mark rolled off her and jumped up, stumbling over his own feet, reaching for his pants on the floor. "Wait," he started. "Get out," I shrieked. "Get out of my bed." Mark was fumbling with his jeans, his hands shaking. "Just wait, let me explain." "Explain what?" My voice cracked. I was shaking so violently I thought my legs would give out. What could you possibly explain right now? Sarah was crying now, clutching the sheet to her chest, mascara running down her face. "I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry." "Don't." I held up my hand and she flinched. "Don't you dare apologize to me right now." I couldn't look at her. If I looked at her, I'd completely fall apart. So I focused on Mark, my husband, the man I'd trusted with everything, the man who'd promised to love me, to be faithful to me, to build a life with me. "How long?" My voice came out as a whisper, cold, flat, a voice I didn't recognize as my own. Mark pulled his shirt on, not meeting my eyes. "It's not what it looks like." I laughed. Actually laughed. It sounded insane even to my own ears. "It's not what it looks like? I just walked in on you in bed with my best friend. What exactly does it look like to you?" "This just happened," Mark said quickly, the words tumbling out. "We didn't plan this. We didn't mean for this to—" "How long?" I screamed at this time, and both of them jumped. Silence. The kind of silence that fills a room like poison. Sarah was staring at the floor, tears dripping onto the sheets. Mark's jaw was working, like he was trying to find words that would make this okay, like there were any words in the world that could fix this. "Answer me," I said, my voice dropping to something deadly calm. "Or I swear to God, I will lose my mind right here in front of both of you." Mark ran his hand through his hair, took a breath, finally looked at me. "A year," he said quietly. "It's been about a year." The room tilted. I grabbed the doorframe to keep from falling. A year, 12 months, 52 weeks, 365 days of lies stacked on top of each other, so high I couldn't even see the top. "Our anniversary," I said slowly, the pieces clicking into place like a nightmare puzzle. "The party Sarah threw for us. That was 6 months ago." Neither of them said anything. "You were already sleeping together then," I continued, my voice getting louder. "When she gave that speech about how happy she was for us, when she decorated our house, when she posted those photos calling us relationship goals, you were already fucking her." "Don't," Mark started. "Don't what?" I shouted. "Don't say it out loud. Don't make it real. It's already real, Mark. You've been cheating on me with my best friend for an entire year. Every holiday. Christmas morning when we'd opened presents together, and Sarah had come over for brunch. My birthday in March, when they'd both surprised me with a party. Our 6th anniversary in April, when Sarah had insisted on throwing us that celebration. Memorial Day weekend, when the three of us had gone to the beach house. 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving. Every single moment, they'd been lying to my face, smiling at me, hugging me, telling me they loved me, and then sneaking off together the second I turned my back. Every time, I whispered, more to myself than to them. Every time the three of us were together, every dinner, every movie night, every holiday, you were together the whole time. Sarah sobbed. "I tried to stop it. I swear I tried." "You tried?" I whipped my head toward her, and she shrank back. "You tried to stop sleeping with my husband? When? When did you try? Before or after you threw us an anniversary party while you were screwing him behind my back?" "It wasn't supposed to happen," she choked out. It just happened one day and then we couldn't." "Couldn't what? Couldn't stop? Couldn't tell me? Couldn't do the right thing?" I was crying now. Hot, angry tears streaming down my face. "You've been my best friend for 15 years. 15 years, Sarah. You knew everything about me. You knew I'd been cheated on before. You knew how badly it destroyed me. You knew." She was full-on sobbing now, her whole body shaking. "I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," I screamed. "You did hurt me. You've been hurting me for a year, and I didn't even know it." Mark stepped forward, hands out like he was approaching a wild animal. "Please, just let us explain." "There's nothing to explain." I cut him off. "You don't love me. You haven't loved me, probably for a long time. And instead of being honest, instead of just leaving, you destroyed me." "That's not true," Mark said. And he actually looked like he believed it. "I do love you. This thing with Sarah, it's complicated." "It's not complicated." My voice broke. "You're cheating on me with my best friend. That's not complicated. That's betrayal." Sarah finally spoke again, and what she said made everything so much worse. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. But we're in love." The words hung in the air like smoke. In love. Not it was a mistake. Not it meant nothing. In love. I stared at her, at this woman I'd known for 15 years. This woman I'd trusted with my life, and I didn't recognize her anymore. In love, I repeated slowly. You're in love. Mark closed his eyes, didn't deny it. So this wasn't just sex, I continued, my voice eerily calm now. This wasn't just an affair. You two fell in love. While I was, what? Working? Cooking dinner? Sleeping next to him every night, thinking everything was fine? Neither of them answered. They didn't have to. The two people I loved most in the world had fallen in love with each other, and I was just collateral damage, just the obstacle in their way, just the wife who didn't know she'd already lost everything. I took a step back toward the door, then another. I couldn't be in that room anymore. I couldn't breathe. Get out of my house, I said quietly. Let's just talk about this, Mark started. Get out of my house. I screamed it so loud my throat hurt. Both of you. Get out right now or I'm calling the police. I turned and walked out. Down the stairs. Out the front door. Got in my car and just drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't be there anymore. Behind me, I could hear them scrambling, voices calling my name, but I didn't look back. I just drove. I didn't cry. Not at first. I couldn't. I was numb, empty. Like someone had reached inside me and scooped everything out, leaving nothing but a hollow shell behind. I walked out of that room, down the stairs, grabbed my keys from the counter, and left. I didn't pack a bag, didn't grab my phone charger, didn't think about where I was going. I just got in my car and drove. I ended up at a Holiday Inn 20 minutes away, paid for a room with cash because I didn't want them tracking my credit card. Walked into that sterile, impersonal room with its generic art and stiff bedsheets, and that's when it hit me. I collapsed on the bathroom floor and finally let myself fall apart. I don't know how long I cried. It felt like hours. The kind of crying that makes you sick, that leaves you gasping for air, that comes from somewhere so deep you didn't know it existed. I cried for my marriage, for my friendship, for the life I thought I had, for the person I'd been that morning when I'd kissed my husband goodbye and had no idea my entire world was a lie. Eventually, I managed to pull myself together enough to call my sister, Amy. She lived 4 hours away, had 2 kids and a full-time job. But the second I choked out, "I need you," she said, "I'm getting in the car right now." She showed up at 7 p.m., didn't ask questions, just held me while I sobbed and told her everything. Every detail, every horrible, humiliating detail of walking in on them, of the way they looked at each other, of Sarah saying they were in love. Amy didn't say much. She just listened. And when I was done, she said 5 words that made me feel less alone. "We're going to get through this." The texts started coming in within an hour of me leaving the house. My phone was blowing up. 20 messages. 30. 40. "Please come home so we can talk. I know you're upset, but we need to discuss this like adults. You can't just run away from this. Please answer me. I need you to understand. I know you hate me right now, but please let me explain. You're my best friend. We can get through this." I read them with Amy looking over my shoulder. She grabbed my phone, blocked both of them, and said, "You don't owe them a single word." She was right. I didn't. The next morning, Amy and I drove back to the house. I'd called a locksmith on the way. He met us there at 9 a.m., and within an hour, every lock on every door was changed. Mark's key didn't work anymore. Sarah's key didn't work anymore. They couldn't just walk into my house whenever they wanted and destroy my life again. We spent the next 6 hours packing. Every single thing that belonged to Mark went into boxes. His clothes, his shoes, his laptop, his books. That stupid golf bag he never used. The wedding photo from our nightstand, I threw that one in so hard the glass cracked. We hauled everything down to the garage, stacked it in neat piles like I was organizing my own funeral. Then I texted Mark from Amy's phone since he was blocked on mine. Your stuff is in the garage. You have 24 hours to pick it up, or I'm donating it all. He tried to call Amy's phone immediately. She declined it. He texted back, "Please, can we just talk face to face?" I texted back, "No, 24 hours. Don't contact me again." He came that night at 11 p.m. I watched from the upstairs window as he loaded boxes into his truck, looking up at the house every few minutes like he hoped I'd come down. I didn't. Amy stood next to me, her hand on my shoulder, and we watched him take the last pieces of our marriage away in the back of a U-Haul. Sarah was worse. She wouldn't leave me alone. She tried to show up at my work 3 days later. I saw her in the lobby through the security cameras, and I called down to the front desk. Security escorted her out. She was crying, yelling my name, making a scene. Everyone saw. Everyone knew. The humiliation was almost worse than the betrayal. She sent letters to my house. Long, rambling letters about how sorry she was, how it wasn't supposed to happen, how she never meant to fall in love with him. I burned every single one without reading past the first line. She sent emails, dozens of them. "Please talk to me. I miss you. You're the most important person in my life." I set up a filter to send them straight to trash. She left voice messages on my work phone, my cell phone, even my parents' home phone, sobbing, begging me to forgive her, saying she couldn't help who she fell for. That one made me laugh, like love was some uncontrollable force that just happened to her, like she had no choice but to sleep with my husband for an entire year. I never responded. Not once. Amy asked me if I wanted closure, if I wanted to hear her out, just to get it over with. I said no. Some betrayals don't deserve closure. Some people don't deserve your forgiveness, or your understanding, or your time. Sarah had made her choice. She'd chosen him over me, over 15 years of friendship, over every secret we'd shared, every moment we'd lived through together, every promise we'd made. She'd chosen to destroy me, and now she had to live with that choice. I didn't owe her peace. I didn't owe her anything. It's been 8 months now. 8 months since I walked in on them. 8 months since my life imploded. The divorce is almost final. My lawyer says we should have the papers signed by next month. Mark didn't fight me on anything. I think he knew he didn't have a leg to stand on. I haven't spoken to either of them since that day, and I never will. I meant what I said. Some people don't deserve a second of your time, and they're at the top of that list. I found out through mutual friends that Mark and Sarah are still together. They moved in together about 3 months ago, living in some apartment across town, playing house, probably thinking they won, that they got their happy ending. But here's the thing nobody tells you about affairs. They don't work out the way people think they will. According to Jessica, one of the few mutual friends who stayed loyal to me, they're miserable. Turns out the fantasy isn't quite as fun when it's real, when you're not sneaking around anymore, when you're not getting that rush of doing something forbidden, when it's just the two of you, dealing with grocery shopping and bills and whose turn it is to take out the trash. Affairs thrive on secrecy and excitement. on stolen moments and the thrill of getting away with something. Strip all that away, and you're left with two people who destroyed lives to be together. Now looking at each other across a kitchen table and realizing maybe it wasn't worth it. Jessica told me Sarah tried reaching out to her a few weeks ago, crying about how hard everything is. How Mark won't let her see her other friends because he's paranoid she'll cheat on him like she cheated with him. How he doesn't trust her. How they fight all the time now. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not even a little bit. You don't get to destroy someone's life and then cry about the consequences. I won't lie and say I'm completely fine. I'm not. Some days are harder than others. Some days I wake up and forget for just a second, and then I remember, and it feels like getting hit all over again. I lost my husband and my best friend in the same moment. That's not something you just get over. I lost 15 years of friendship, 15 years of memories that are all tainted now. Every photo, every inside joke, every moment we shared, it's all poisoned. I can't look back on any of it without wondering when it turned. When she stopped being my friend and started being the woman who would betray me, I lost 6 years of marriage. 6 years I thought we were building something real. 6 years I'll never get back. And I lost the version of myself that trusted easily, that believed people when they said they loved me, that thought if you were just a good person, good things would happen to you. That version of me died in that bedroom doorway 8 months ago. But here's what nobody talks about. Sometimes losing things makes room for better things. I also gained something through all of this. I gained the knowledge that I deserve better than people who could look me in the eye and lie for a year. People who could sit at my dinner table, sleep in my guest room, hold me while I cried, and then turn around and destroy everything I cared about. I deserve better than that. I always did. I just didn't know it yet. I gained real friends. Friends who showed up when everything fell apart. Amy, who dropped everything and drove 4 hours to sit with me on a hotel bathroom floor. Jessica, who chose me over social convenience and cut them both out of her life. My coworker Rachel, who barely knew me but brought me coffee every morning for 2 weeks straight because she could tell I was falling apart. Those are real friends. Not the kind who stab you in the back and then cry about how hard it is for them. I gained a life that's mine now, not built on lies, not shared with someone who didn't value me, not spent wondering if I'm enough, if I'm doing something wrong, if the people I love are being honest with me. My life is smaller now, but it's real, and that matters more than I ever thought it would. And most importantly, I gained the strength to walk away from people who didn't value me, even when it hurt like hell. Even when every part of me wanted to call them, to hear them out, to try to understand how this happened. I walked away. I chose myself. For the first time in a long time, I put myself first. That's not nothing. That's everything. If you're going through something similar right now, if you're reading this and seeing yourself in my story, know this. The betrayal isn't your fault. It's not because you weren't pretty enough, or interesting enough, or present enough. It's not because you worked too much, or didn't pay enough attention, or failed in some way you can't even name. You didn't cause it by not being enough. You were always enough. They just weren't. Cheating isn't about the person being cheated on. It's about the person doing the cheating, their choices, their weaknesses, their inability to be honest when things got hard. You can't control other people. You can't make someone be loyal. You can't love someone into being a good person. All you can do is decide how you respond when they show you who they really are. And I decided to walk away, to choose myself, to build a life that doesn't include people who treat me like I'm disposable. It's been 8 months. Some days I'm okay. Some days I'm not. But I'm here. I'm surviving. And slowly, I'm starting to believe I might actually be happy again someday. Not the same kind of happy. That version died with the old me, but a different kind, a stronger kind. The kind of happy that comes from knowing you survived something that should have destroyed you, and you came out the other side still standing. That's worth something. That's worth everything.